Have you ever noticed how the room feels crowded when you're winning, but empty when you're losing? People don't always leave because you failed. They leave when you stop serving their benefit. The harsh truth is this: most people want you to do well, but not better than them. That's why you must learn to stand strong alone, because not everyone who claps wants you to win. Most people are transactional. Support lasts only while you serve their interests. It's one of the hardest truths to accept, but once you do, it changes the way you see relationships, friendships, and even family ties. People are quick to align themselves with you when there is something to gain, when your presence makes their life easier, when your success spills over and benefits them. But the moment you stop being useful, the moment your decisions no longer serve their agenda, you begin to see their true nature. They pull away, they get quiet, or they move on to the next person who can give them what you no longer do. That is not loyalty, that is transaction. From childhood, we're taught to believe in unconditional friendship, undying loyalty, and support that stands firm through thick and thin. But reality teaches a harsher lesson as we grow older. You begin to notice who calls only when they need something, who shows up only when the spotlight is on, who disappears when the season of difficulty arrives. These moments strip away the illusions and force you to confront a pattern. For many people, relationships are not about connection, they are about convenience. If you fit into their plan, you're valuable. If you no longer fit, you're forgettable. This truth, while painful, is liberating once you embrace it, because it frees you from false expectations. Instead of clinging to the hope that everyone who smiles at you is a friend, you learn to observe actions, not words. You stop confusing attention for loyalty. You stop mistaking presence for commitment. You recognize that some people are only in your circle as long as the circle is serving them. And when you stop expecting permanence from temporary people, you stop feeling betrayed when they leave. Transactional relationships are not always malicious. Often, they are simply human nature. People are focused on themselves, their survival, their ambitions, their comfort. That doesn't automatically make them bad, it makes them human. The problem arises when you build your sense of worth, identity, or stability on these shifting sands. If your confidence depends on the applause of people who are only clapping while you're useful, then the day they stop clapping, you will collapse. That is why it is vital to anchor yourself not in their validation, but in your own character, discipline, and inner drive. Understanding that most people are transactional should not make you bitter, but it should make you wise. It should teach you boundaries. It should show you the importance of discerning who deserves access to your heart, your energy, and your dreams. Not everyone qualifies to hear your vision, because some will only use it against you. Not everyone should walk with you, because some will only slow you down. By protecting your space and your energy, you reduce the power that transactional people have over your emotions. And here's another truth: when you learn to stand firm, without external validation, you attract better people. Real ones. The kind who celebrate you not for what you give them, but for who you are. They are rare, but you will never notice them if you're too busy chasing after those who were only around for the perks. You see, when your value is rooted in yourself, you stop being desperate for anyone's approval, and in that independence you gain strength. The irony is that even transactional people respect strength. They may not support you in your struggles, but when you rise on your own, they want to be near you again. Not because they suddenly care, but because strength attracts. That is the world we live in. Weakness is ignored, struggle is inconvenient, but results are celebrated. Knowing this allows you to stop expecting others to fuel your journey and instead fuel it yourself. So yes, most people are transactional. Their support is often temporary, tied to how much you serve their interests. But instead of letting that harden you, let it sharpen you. Stop relying on others to validate your worth. Stop giving everyone unrestricted access to your life. Learn to recognize the difference between real loyalty and temporary convenience. And most importantly, build yourself so strong that whether people stay or leave, whether they clap or stay silent, you keep moving forward. Because in the end, the most powerful relationships you will ever build are with yourself, and with those few rare souls who see your worth, even when you're not useful to them. Learn to stand alone. Independence is your strongest shield. This lesson is not taught in schools, nor is it encouraged in a world that thrives on conformity and dependence. Yet, life has a way of forcing it upon you. There comes a time when you look around and realize that the crowd you thought would cheer you on is silent. The friends you thought would catch you are absent, and the shoulders you thought you could lean on are nowhere in sight. At first, this feels like abandonment, like betrayal. But if you lean into it, you begin to see the gift hidden in solitude, the strength of standing alone. Independence is not about arrogance or rejecting everyone. It is about building yourself so solid that your stability does not depend on the unpredictable loyalty of others. When you stand alone, You discover resilience you didn't know you had. You learn to clap for yourself when no one notices your efforts. You learn to push through when encouragement is absent. You learn that your fuel does not have to come from outside applause. It can be generated from within. And once you master that, you become unshakable, because no one can take away what they never gave you. To stand alone is to walk a path of self-respect. It means not begging for a place at tables where you are not valued. It means not diluting your vision just to make others comfortable. It means not postponing your progress waiting for someone to believe in you. The moment you stop outsourcing your worth, you take your power back. The world suddenly has less control over you, because manipulation only works on the desperate. If you don't need their approval, they can't use it to chain you. If you don't need their validation, they can't withhold it to weaken you. Independence is the shield that protects your heart, your mind, and your purpose. Standing alone also teaches clarity. Without the noise of too many opinions, you hear your own voice more clearly. You see your goals without distraction. You begin to differentiate between what you truly want and what others have projected onto you. In solitude, you confront your fears, your weaknesses, your doubts. At first, this confrontation is uncomfortable because it strips away excuses. There is no one left to blame, no one to lean on. It's just you and the truth. But in that space, transformation begins. You face yourself honestly, and in doing so, you evolve. There's a misconception that being independent means being lonely. The truth is the opposite. Standing alone prepares you for better relationships, because when you no longer need people to complete you, you are free to choose them for who they are, not for what they give you. You stop clinging to toxic connections out of fear of solitude. You stop tolerating disrespect just to avoid being alone. Instead, you attract people who resonate with your strength, people who are not threatened by your independence but inspired by it. Strong individuals build strong connections, not needy ones. When you stand alone, you also become dangerous, in the best way. Dangerous to those who wanted to control you, because their tactics no longer work. Dangerous to those who doubted you, because your progress cannot be stopped by their silence. Dangerous to mediocrity, because you refuse to settle for less than what you're capable of. Independence gives you freedom of movement, freedom of thought, freedom to pursue your destiny without waiting for permission. That kind of freedom is rare, and that is why it is powerful. Of course, independence requires discipline. It means waking up and motivating yourself when no one is clapping. It means pushing forward even when you're tired and no one is watching. It means setting boundaries that protect your peace even if they make others uncomfortable. Discipline is the backbone of independence. Without it, solitude turns into stagnation. But with it, solitude becomes the furnace where strength, focus, and vision are forged. So learn to stand alone. Do not fear it, embrace it as the training ground for greatness. Understand that independence is not isolation. It is preparation. It is the sharpening of your character, the building of your resilience, the claiming of your power. The crowd may not always be with you. The applause may not always echo. But if you can walk forward in silence with strength in your steps, you have already won. Because the one who learns to stand alone is the one who can never be broken. Independence is not just your strongest shield. It is the foundation on which unshakable lives are built. Success exposes people. Jealousy and quiet withdrawal often replace early cheers. When you begin your journey, many will clap, encourage, and even promise to stand by your side. They see your potential as harmless when it is still in seed form. Your ambition feels safe to them when it is only talk, when it has not yet turned into visible results. But the moment that ambition starts bearing fruit, the moment your success begins to shine brighter than their comfort zone, you will see a shift. Those who once cheered will grow silent. Those who once supported will distance themselves. Some will not confront you openly. They will simply fade away, leaving behind the weight of their absence as their silent statement. This is because success does not just elevate you, it tests the hearts of those around you. It acts like a spotlight that reveals intentions previously hidden. When you are struggling, people can sympathize. They feel equal, even superior to your position. But when you begin to rise, your growth becomes a mirror reflecting their stagnation, their unrealized dreams, and their insecurities. Instead of celebrating, they compare. Instead of clapping louder, they withdraw in jealousy. The truth is that not everyone can handle your progress, because your progress reminds them of their lack of it. Jealousy often disguises itself. Rarely will people say outright, "I envy you." Instead, you will feel it in subtle ways. The energy changes. The calls and messages become less frequent. The tone shifts from excitement to indifference. What they once praised, they now minimize, saying things like, "It's not that big of a deal," or "Anyone could have done that." These are not random words. They are attempts to downplay your shine so they feel less dim in comparison. Success has a way of shaking relationships, not because you've changed, but because it forces others to confront the gap between where they are and where you are heading. Quiet withdrawal is even more telling than jealousy. It is the silence of those who can't clap for you anymore because their pride won't allow it. These are the people who vanish from the crowd once your achievements outgrow their comfort. Their absence is not about your failure to include them, it is about their inability to watch you soar. Some of them may have secretly rooted for your downfall, not because they hated you, but because your rising would demand them to rise too, and they weren't willing to put in the work. So they retreat into distance, where your success no longer challenges them. It hurts when people you trusted disappear at the height of your accomplishments. It makes you question your own worth, your own choices. But this revelation is necessary. Success does not just give you new opportunities, it filters your circle. It sifts out the ones who were attached only to your struggle, not your triumph. It shows you who celebrated the idea of you but cannot handle the reality of you fulfilled. And though it may sting, this process is a blessing in disguise, because it clears the space for people who will celebrate without envy, who will clap without hesitation, and who will stand with you not only when you are chasing the dream but also when you are living it. So do not fear the exposure success brings. Welcome it. It is better to know the truth than to live with illusions of loyalty. Let people show themselves. Let jealousy fall away. Let withdrawal create distance. Your task is not to beg for their cheers or shrink your light to ease their discomfort. Your task is to keep shining, to keep rising, and to keep walking toward your purpose. Because those who are meant for you will never be threatened by your success. They will be inspired by it. And those who cannot stand your growth were never truly standing with you in the first place. Success exposes people, but it also strengthens you. It teaches you to stop leaning on fragile applause and start walking with unshakable confidence. The cheers may fade, the circle may shrink, but your journey continues. And the higher you go, the less noise you need. Because true strength is not measured by the volume of the claps, but by the steadiness of your own steps. Trust is earned by consistent actions over time, not by warm words or quick emotion. Words are easy. Promises flow effortlessly from the lips of people who want to win your confidence. But it is action that tells the truth. Anyone can say, "I'll be there for you," when things are simple. Anyone can send comforting words in a moment of emotion. But when the test of time comes, when circumstances demand sacrifice, reliability, and endurance, that is when the reality of trust is revealed. Trust is not built in a day. It is built day after day, in the quiet proof of actions that align with what has been spoken. Many people confuse charm with character. They hear the right words and assume they reflect the right heart. They see emotion and believe it signals depth. But sincerity is not measured by how passionately someone speaks. It is measured by how faithfully they act when no one is watching. True trust requires evidence, and that evidence only appears over time. You can't rush it, you can't bypass it. Trust grows slowly, like a seed watered daily, not like a firework that burns bright for a moment and then disappears into smoke. Quick emotions can be deceiving. Someone may be swept up in the moment, overwhelmed by feeling, and say things they truly believe in that instant. But emotions are unstable. They shift with moods, circumstances, and convenience. Trust cannot rest on such fragile ground. What matters is not how strongly someone feels today, but how steadily they show up tomorrow. If their actions continue to align with their words week after week, month after month, then you begin to see a pattern worth believing in. That pattern becomes the foundation of trust. Consistency is the currency of trust. Without it, there is only uncertainty. When someone shows up again and again, not just in good times but in difficult ones, not just when it benefits them but also when it costs them, that is when their character shines through. It is in the daily follow-through, the little acts of loyalty, the unseen sacrifices, and the reliability that does not waver even when circumstances change. That is how you know trust is being earned, because consistency requires discipline, and discipline reflects truth. The danger of building trust on words alone is that it creates illusions. You think someone is dependable because they sound convincing, only to find their promises hollow when you needed them most. This kind of disappointment cuts deep, because it exposes how easily we can be swayed by verbal warmth or emotional intensity. To guard yourself, you must learn to observe over time. Give people space to prove who they are through repetition. Pay attention to whether their actions line up with what they declare. Notice if their loyalty endures when you are no longer convenient to them. True trust cannot be forced, it must be revealed. Trust, once earned, becomes one of the strongest forces in human connection. It creates safety, intimacy, and confidence between people. But because it is so valuable, it must also be protected. That is why betrayal hurts so much. It is not simply the loss of relationship, it is the collapse of the structure that was built slowly and carefully through years of consistency. And that pain reminds us why trust cannot be given recklessly. It must be guarded, tested, and confirmed through steady proof. The beauty, however, is that when someone truly earns your trust, it brings peace. You no longer have to question their motives, doubt their words, or analyze their behavior. You can rest in the certainty that they are who they say they are, because they have shown you repeatedly through action. That kind of trust is rare, but it is worth waiting for, worth cultivating, and worth protecting. So never be fooled by words alone. Never confuse quick emotion for genuine devotion. Trust is too precious to hand out cheaply. Let time do the work. Let actions speak louder than voices. And when consistency proves itself over and over, then and only then can trust be fully given. Because at the end of the day, trust is not what someone says. It is what they consistently do. Solitude builds clarity, discipline, and power. Protect your plans, energy, and peace. In a world that glorifies constant connection, noise, and attention, solitude is often misunderstood. People assume that being alone means being lonely, when in reality solitude is one of the greatest teachers and protectors of destiny. It is in the quiet moments, away from the chatter of others, that you come face to face with your true self. You hear your own voice, your own thoughts, and you begin to separate what is truly yours from what has been imposed by the world. Clarity is born when distractions are silenced, and solitude becomes the soil where vision takes root and grows strong. When you are constantly surrounded by people, you absorb their energies, their opinions, and their expectations. Slowly, without realizing it, you may begin to lose touch with what you truly want. Solitude acts as a shield, giving you the distance needed to see your path clearly. It strips away noise and allows you to ask honest questions. Who am I? What do I want? What is worth my time and effort? These are questions that cannot be answered in crowds. They demand the silence of solitude. And once clarity comes, your steps become more intentional, your choices more aligned, and your future more secure. Discipline is also birthed in solitude. When no one is watching, when there is no applause or recognition, that is where the habits of greatness are formed. Solitude forces you to take responsibility for your own growth. You learn to motivate yourself, to keep promises to yourself, and to do the work without seeking validation. This builds inner strength because discipline without an audience is pure. It is no longer about looking consistent. It is about being consistent. Over time, this quiet discipline becomes power, because what is done in silence is revealed in results that cannot be ignored. Another reason solitude is powerful is that it protects your energy. Not everyone around you is a supporter. Some are curious, some are jealous, and some are simply draining without meaning to be. If you constantly share your plans, you expose your vision to energies that can weaken it. Some will discourage you, others will copy you, and many will misunderstand you. Protecting your plans in solitude is not secrecy out of fear, it is wisdom born of maturity. Seeds grow best underground before they break the surface. In the same way, your dreams need time in solitude to take root before they are revealed to the world. Peace is perhaps the greatest gift solitude provides. In silence, you are no longer pulled in 100 directions by voices, opinions, and obligations. You reclaim control over your time, your thoughts, and your emotions. Peace gives you strength to endure, patience to wait, and wisdom to choose wisely. Without peace, life becomes a reaction to the noise of others. With peace, life becomes a deliberate march toward your vision. Solitude is not about cutting yourself off from the world, but about creating space to strengthen your inner world so you can face the outer one with clarity and power. History shows that every great leader, thinker, or visionary valued solitude, not because they disliked people, but because they understood that destiny is heavy, and you cannot carry it if you are always weighed down by noise. Solitude sharpens focus. It builds resilience. It gives you a sense of direction that no crowd can provide. And when you emerge from it, you are stronger, wiser, and more unshakable than before. So protect your plans by keeping them close until they are ready to shine. Guard your energy by choosing carefully who gets access to you. Defend your peace by stepping away from the noise when you must. Solitude is not punishment, it is preparation. It is where clarity is born, where discipline is forged, and where power is multiplied. Those who master solitude do not fear being alone, because they know solitude is not emptiness. Solitude is strength. And in that strength lies the foundation of everything you are meant to build. Life has shown us again and again that not everyone who claps for you is truly for you. Success exposes hidden hearts. Help often arrives only when you've already proven you don't need it. Words may be warm, but trust is built only by actions that endure through time. And the silence of solitude, far from being weakness, is where your clarity, your discipline, and your power are forged. This journey teaches one truth. You must become anchored within yourself. Do not lean too heavily on applause, promises, or the shifting loyalty of people who only show up when it benefits them. Stand firm in your own strength. Protect your vision in silence until it is strong enough to shine. Choose carefully who earns access to your energy, and never trade your peace for shallow approval. Because at the end of the day, the circle around you may shrink, the cheers may fade, and many who began with you may quietly step aside, but your destiny was never built on their presence. It was built on your resilience, your discipline, and your courage to walk alone if necessary. When you learn this, you stop chasing validation and start building legacy. So walk boldly. Let success reveal what it must. Let trust be proven, not spoken. Let solitude be your shield and your training ground. And remember, your greatest strength will never come from those who stood beside you for convenience, but from the power you discovered when you stood alone. That is when your voice grows steady, your path grows clear, and your life becomes undeniable proof that nothing can stop the one who refuses to be broken by silence, by jealousy, or by absence. You become unshakable, you become unstoppable, and you become free.